Hello everybody, it's Zeal back with another video. Today we are going to talk about the adorable Egg Guardian from Age of Calamity and how I think it holds the secret to Breath of the Wild's place in the timeline. But of course, before we get started, I want to say this video contains major spoilers for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. You have been warned. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity brought with it many new characters deserving theories of their own. One such character was Terrako, the super cute mini guardian egg boy that everybody loves.
Hey, a prize. Lucky me.
Why lucky you? Who said it's yours?
It was in my bowl.
Well, actually, it's my bowl, because it's my house. So lucky me.
Anyway, we'll be discussing why exactly Terrako was made and my thoughts on what his overall purpose is in the Zelda series. Real quick before anything else, I want to put out there that this video is going to be split into two parts. One, because it was too long to really put into one video, and two, as you've noticed, it's been quite a while since my last video, so I just wanted to get something out there for now. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, to start off with, I feel like I need to clarify something. Terrako is not a time traveler. Okay, well, he is, but not in the way you might expect. One may think Terrako just went back in time, changing the course of history, but the fact that the timeline was explicitly split already contradicts this. One of the game tips in the loading screen, called Splintered Worlds, says, "When Terrako, pursued by Ganon's malice, arrived from the future, the new world was born." But this doesn't make any sense, and feels pretty much like a cop-out by Nintendo. If anything else, one could easily argue Terrako is doing something more akin to interdimensional travel, as opposed to straight-up time traveling in one timeline. Simply put, Terrako didn't travel back in time at the beginning of Age of Calamity. Instead, he jumped to another dimension altogether, in other words, another timeline, which had one subtle but significant difference. You see, in the original Breath of the Wild timeline, Link first pulled the Master Sword from its pedestal in his early teens. We know this from creating a champion. The details of how Link obtained the Master Sword 100 years ago have been lost in the midst of time. But since he was in possession of it for a number of years prior to becoming a champion, he was likely around 12 or 13 years old when it happened. In Chapter 3 of Age of Calamity, right before you start the mission freeing Korok Forest, we get a bit of exposition that says, "The king issued his first order to the Divine Beast pilots. Seek the knight who could wield the sword that seals the darkness. This would require that they vanquish the monsters in Korok Forest, where the legendary blade slept." But why would they need to search for the knight who could wield the Master Sword if Link has already pulled it once before? Well, to put it simply, they wouldn't. They could just ask Link to stroll down to Korok Forest, pull out the Master Sword, and be on their way. Yes, you could chalk it up to the writing team forgetting about that small little detail. Maybe the king and everybody in Hyrule just forgot that Link pulled the Master Sword, or that Link just didn't tell anyone. But at the end of the day, whatever is in the final product is canon. At least with them creating a whole new timeline with this story, they can afford to miss things like this. But let me know what you think in the comments. Another display of Terrako's timeline jumping abilities is when he brings the future champions back in time to help the original champions. But we know that these champions can't be from the Age of Calamity timeline. There are several scenes alluding to the fact that the future champions Riju, Yunobu, Teba, and Prince Sidon, are from the original Breath of the Wild timeline.
No! I will not allow you to take her again!
This has been enlightening. I even got to see the face behind the champion.
But what really drives home the idea that Terrako has the ability to travel to completely different timelines rather than straight-up time travel powers is this.
I will never forget today's miracles. How all of you fought by my side, and the trials we overcame together. I'll treasure our friendship always. And now, as you return to your future, May the light shine upon you for all time.
Did you catch that?
And now, as you return to your future,
Right there. Back to your future, implying that they are returning to the original timeline. If Terco only had time travel powers, then this wouldn't be able to happen. Terco would now only be able to grab the champions from the future of this new timeline, not from the original Breath of the Wild timeline that we know. In fact, in the Age of Calamity timeline, some of the future champions may not have ever been born. But that's a theory for another time. But where exactly did Terco come from? And furthermore, why was he built in the first place? Obviously, Terco was built by the Sheikah. I mean, look at him. But Zeal, in Age of Calamity, we see Zelda building Terco.
If I put this one here... It's done!
Zelda is not building Terco here, at least not for the first time. She is repairing him. You see, from my last video, the Sheikah are aliens, link in the top right corner, we theorized that Hylia was originally a Sheikah before she created the Hylians and gave up her immortality. Since Zelda is a reincarnation of Hylia, that would mean she has a direct connection to the Sheikah. I believe Terco is more Hylia's project rather than Zelda's, and that Hylia is the one rebuilding Terco through Zelda. This is probably why she had Terco to begin with. The previous incarnation of Hylia had to have been working on it so it stayed in the royal family. Zelda would then find it and start to tinker with it. However, have you noticed that Terco only seems to activate his powers after Zelda cries?
why won't you awaken for me? All of it was for naught.
I believe this is because Hylia made a sort of genetic lock on Terco, so that he would only activate his powers in the presence of the goddess. That way no one could steal Terco and use his time travel powers for nefarious purposes. Yes, we did have Harbinger Ganon in Age of Calamity, but why did he never once use his power to time travel throughout the course of the game? Surely Harbinger Ganon would want to use it when things are starting to look bad for him. Oh no, I'm about to lose, better rewind to a point that's advantageous for me and continue my evil plans to rule the world! So, why doesn't he do it? Well, it's because he couldn't. His power was never activated by Hylia/Zelda, the same way that Terco was. But if you don't agree with that, I still think it's safe to say that Zelda wasn't the one who originally built Terco. This specific incarnation of Zelda seems very passionate about ancient Sheikah relics and technology, as seen in Breath of the Wild. It's not much of a stretch to say that Terco is one of these relics she happened upon, and was trying to repair him rather than building him completely from scratch. But why did they do it? Why did the Sheikah build a mini guardian that can create portals to different timelines? Well, it's because they studied the three dragons, Dinral, Naydra, and Farash. From my first video, we theorized that when the dragons are entering and exiting their portals, that they are traveling to each of the three timelines to bring back relics and legends, link in the top right corner. It is my belief that the Sheikah observed this phenomenon and wanted to be able to traverse the timelines themselves. They would then build Terco to do just that. But how exactly did they create the technology to portal between timelines in the first place? Perhaps they used dragon parts, like the scales, fangs, horns, and claws to create the portals needed to jump to a different timeline. Maybe that's something worth looking into in a future video. Also, have you ever wondered why Terco looks the way he does? I mean, he kind of looks like an egg. Well, yes, I think he is designed after an egg, specifically a dragon egg, as a subtle nod to the giant beast that inspired his creation. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. Again, this is the first of a 2-part video, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next video, whenever it comes out. Next part, we're going to go into where I think Breath of the Wild fits in the timeline now that we know about our little egg guardian and his interdimensional traveling powers. Anyway, I better get working on the next video so it comes out, like, this year or something. In the meantime, go check out my friend Thinkafurr. He is also working on some fun theories coming up in the future that I'm very excited for you to see. All his theory videos get my Zeal of approval. Link in the top right corner and in the description below. Have a good day, everybody! I'll see you all in the next one.